Have you ever felt like a ghost in someone else's life? A silent observer in a house that is full of noise but empty of your own rhythm. You recognize the furniture, the faces, the routines, but you cannot recognize yourself within them. This is a peculiar kind of loneliness, one that can only be felt when you are surrounded by people you love. It's the quiet agony of living under a contract you never signed, a contract of unspoken expectations, of silent duties, of a love that somehow feels more like a cage. You are told you are home, but you feel like a guest. You are told you are loved, but you feel like a responsibility. What is the source of this profound dissonance? And what is the price of ignoring it? This isn't just about aging. This is about the slow, silent erosion of the self. And today, we're going to confront it directly, not with sentimentality, but with the cold, liberating clarity of one of history's most radical minds, Baruch Spinoza. Spinoza was a philosopher who was excommunicated for his ideas, a man who cherished reason and freedom above all else. He was not a man who dealt in comforting illusions. He was a physician of the mind, offering a diagnosis for the soul's ailments. He would argue that the feeling of being trapped, of being a burden, of slowly fading away in your children's home is not a personal failure or an inevitable tragedy of age. It is a predictable outcome of violating a fundamental law of nature. And in understanding this law, you will not find an excuse for bitterness, but a blueprint for your own liberation. This journey requires courage because it asks you to question the most sacred of assumptions about family, duty, and love. To understand the depth of this problem, we must first validate the feeling. When you move in with your adult children, you enter a world that is no longer yours. It is a world built around their careers, their relationships, their schedules, their noise. Your own lifelong rhythm, the quiet mornings, the specific way you arrange your space, the simple, unspoken habits that have defined you for decades, is now a disruption. It must be sanded down, made to fit, or discarded entirely. Your children, in their well-intentioned love, may try to manage your life for your own good. They schedule your appointments. They monitor what you eat. They decide when it is too late for you to be out. Each of these small, seemingly caring actions is a thread in the net that slowly tightens around you. You are acting out of what Spinoza would call inadequate ideas. These are ideas and beliefs absorbed from the outside world, from society, from a sense of guilt and obligation. The idea that a good parent does not want to be a burden. The idea that a loving child must take their parent in. These are confused, passive notions. They are not born of your own clear-headed reason, and when you live by them, you are no longer the cause of your own actions. You are being moved by external forces, and the result, for Spinoza, is always a decrease in your power, a slide into what he called the sad passions. Sadness, for Spinoza, is the very experience of this loss of power, this feeling of being determined by others. It is the slow poison of a life lived at a distance from itself. And it is here that we find Spinoza's first and most powerful concept, the conatus. According to Spinoza, every single thing in the universe, from a stone to a star to a human being, possesses a fundamental striving to persevere in its own being. This is its conatus. Think of a tree. A tree's conatus is its innate drive to sink its roots, to reach for sunlight, to become the most complete version of a tree it can be. It is not selfish. It is not arrogant. It is its nature. It is the law of its existence. Your conatus is the very same thing. It is your essential drive to exist, to act, to be yourself. It is the force behind your habits, your desires, your unique rhythm. It is the architect of your identity. When you live in an environment that constantly suppresses this drive, you are living in direct opposition to the most fundamental law of your own nature. It's like trying to plant an oak tree in a tiny pot on a dark windowsill. The pot may be gilded, the windowsill may be in a beautiful home, but the tree will wither. It cannot fulfill its nature. Your soul is that tree. Your conatus is not a polite request to be accommodated. It is a demand to exist. To deny it, out of guilt or a misplaced sense of duty, is a form of slow-motion suicide. The core of the problem lies in the battle between two kinds of understanding, what Spinoza called adequate and inadequate ideas. An inadequate idea is a confused and partial understanding of yourself and the world. It's when you are driven by forces you don't fully comprehend. The feeling of guilt that pushes you to accept your children's offer is an inadequate idea. It is a fog of social conditioning, of fear of being alone, of not wanting to appear ungrateful. You think you are choosing out of love, but you are reacting out of fear and confusion. You see only one part of the equation, your children's desire to care for you. You do not see the other, more critical part, the true cost to your own being. An adequate idea, on the other hand, is a clear and distinct understanding of the true causes of things. It is seeing reality as it is, without the distortion of passive emotions. To form an adequate idea of your situation is to sit down and, with radical honesty, understand what truly nourishes your spirit and what poisons it. It is to recognize, with the clarity of a mathematician solving an equation, that your need for autonomy is not a selfish whim, but a vital component of your well-being. It is to understand that the daily loss of small choices, what to eat, when to wake, how to spend your afternoon, is not a minor inconvenience. It is a systematic dismantling of your power to be the cause of your own life. Acting on an adequate idea means your actions originate from within you, from your own rational understanding of what is best for your preservation. And what are the consequences of ignoring this? What happens when you continue to live under the dominion of inadequate ideas, suppressing your own conatus year after year? The consequences are not dramatic. They are quiet. They are corrosive. Spinoza would call this a life of human bondage, a state of being ruled by the sad passions. You begin to feel a persistent, low-grade resentment, not just towards your children, but towards yourself for your own passivity. You feel the sting of being spoken about as if you are not in the room. You become a project to be managed, a problem to be solved. The joy you once found in your own company is replaced by a gnawing sense of being in the way. Your world shrinks. First, you lose your space. Then, you lose your routine. Then, you lose your voice, because your opinions on the daily life of the household are secondary. Finally, you risk losing your very identity, becoming a collection of memories and needs, rather than a vibrant, acting person. This is the ultimate cost of inaction. You cease to be an active agent in your own story. You become a passive character in someone else's. This is not the fault of your children. It is the logical consequence of allowing external forces, no matter how well-intentioned, to overpower your own essential nature. You have allowed your conatus to be starved, and your entire being feels the resulting famine. But it is precisely here, at the point of greatest despair, that Spinoza offers a radical and empowering vision of freedom. For Spinoza, freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. That is an illusion. True freedom is acting from the necessity of your own nature. Let me repeat that. Freedom is acting from the necessity of your own nature. It is a breathtaking idea. It means the freest action you can take is the one that is most necessary for the preservation of your being, for the flourishing of your conatus. This completely reframes the entire dilemma. Choosing to live independently, in a small apartment, in a retirement community, or in any arrangement that preserves your autonomy is not a selfish act of rebellion against your children. It is a necessary act of alignment with yourself. It is you, finally, acting on an adequate idea of who you are and what you need to thrive. The choice becomes not just a preference, but a necessity. Just as a tree must have sunlight, you must have the conditions that allow your spirit to breathe. To make this choice is to move from being a passive effect of external causes to being an active cause of yourself. It is the very definition of empowerment. It is the moment you reclaim your own power, not by fighting your children in anger, but by calmly and rationally obeying the law of your own being. So, what does this new path, this path of Spinozan freedom, actually look like? It is not a path of grand, dramatic gestures. It is a path of quiet, internal revolution. First, it requires a period of radical self-reflection. You must turn off the external voices of guilt and expectation and listen to the clear, quiet voice of your own reason. Ask yourself, what are the specific conditions that bring me peace? Is it the silence of the morning, the freedom to cook my own meals my own way, the ability to see my friends without asking for permission or a ride? Write them down. See them not as luxuries, but as necessities. This is the process of forming an adequate idea of your own needs. Second, this path requires a new kind of communication with your children. This is not a negotiation. It is a declaration. It is not, I was thinking maybe I should get my own place. What do you think? It is, I love you. And because I love and respect myself, I have made the decision to live in a place where I can maintain my own rhythm and independence. I need this to be happy, and I want to share my happiness with you, not my decline. This communication is an act of power. It is an act of an adult, a sovereign individual, not a dependent. It is you acting as the cause, not the effect. This new way of being will manifest as a newfound sense of calm. You will feel your power returning, not as a power over others, but as the power to be yourself. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are acting within it from a place of clear-seeing strength. Of course, this path is not easy. It requires a fortitude that you may feel you have lost. Spinoza would acknowledge this. The world is full of inadequate ideas, and they have immense power over us. Your children may not understand. They may interpret your need for autonomy as a rejection of their love or as a criticism of their care. They may feel guilty, and their guilt may turn into anger or persuasion. They might say, "We just want you to be safe," when what they also mean is, "Your independence makes us uncomfortable because it reminds us that we cannot control everything." You must be prepared for this resistance. It comes from their own passive emotions, their own inadequate ideas about what a family should look like. They are reacting to a script that society has handed them. Your calm, unwavering commitment to your own well-being will be a challenge to that script. There may be a period of loneliness, a feeling of being a pioneer in your own life. To choose freedom is often to choose a path that others do not understand. But Spinoza's promise is that the peace that comes from living in accordance with your own nature is a deeper and more enduring peace than any comfort that comes from conforming to the expectations of others. It is the quiet, solid peace of a mountain which stands its ground regardless of the weather. What you are truly doing is claiming your final and most profound role as a parent. You are not just securing your own peace, you are giving your children one last, powerful lesson. A lesson in dignity, a lesson in self-respect, a lesson in what it means to live an authentic life until the very end. You are showing them that love does not mean possession, that care does not mean control, and that a parent's purpose is not to become a manageable responsibility, but to remain a sovereign individual from whom they can continue to draw strength and wisdom. By refusing to quietly disappear into the background of their lives, you are teaching them how to live their own. You demonstrate that the goal of a human life is not to shrink, to become less, to make oneself small and convenient for others. The goal is to express your being, your conatus, as fully and as powerfully as possible for as long as possible. The transformation is profound. You shift from being a perceived burden to being a beacon of self-sovereignty. You reclaim your role as the architect of your own mind, the author of your own final chapter. This is the ultimate empowerment, to live in such a way that your very existence is an act of freedom. If these explorations into the architecture of your mind resonate with you, ensure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future deep dives. We believe that philosophy is not a historical artifact, but a living tool for transformation. And now, we invite you to take the first step on this path of Spinozan freedom. What is one aspect of your own rhythm, your own conatus, that you are now ready to honor, no matter how small? Share your commitment in the comments below. Your journey can inspire others to begin their own. Let it be an affirmation, a declaration of your right to persevere in your own being. Remember this: the greatest love you can offer is to not require others to sacrifice themselves for you, and to not sacrifice yourself for them. It is to become the true and adequate cause of your own peace.